Let's pretend that this isn't advice. And I'm Erin, and I'm not giving you advice. It's not advice. I can't help myself give advice. I don't mean to. I don't want to. I want you to be able to live your life, but I know how to do it. I'm a huge know-it-all, and this is where I practice not giving advice to people, except I totally give advice to them. I'm a lawyer turned professional certified coach, and I just happen to give the best advice. But this is a podcast, not a coaching session, so I obviously don't do that here, except I do. This is not advice with Erin Conlon, your know-it-all lawyer coach friend. This is not advice. Hey friends, so I'm going to do something a little different today. First of all, I just need to be honest. I have made zero effort to book any podcast guests. So if you are a comedian friend of mine and you listen to the show and you want to be on the show, reach out to me. I could use some guests. Or if you know somebody who would be a really great guest for this show, tell me. I could use some guests. Introduce us. Put us in contact. Yeah. One of the really amazing things about being a busy human being or about being successful is that unless there are structures in place, some of the smaller details go away. Which means that over time, things like having guests on my podcast, what I'm trying to say is that I didn't have structures in place in order to make this a consistent effort. And I can make excuses left and right. And part of it is just that my attention got put elsewhere. So, oops, sorry. And I'm trying to also be creative about how I'm doing this, because what I really care about more than anything is connecting with you all, putting out good content, making sure that what is here is valuable. So with all of that, I thought that today I would just kind of talk about something that has really helped me in my life. And it's kind of an idea that, to be really honest, when people talk about anything, politics, their romantic situation, their job, their well-being, their whatever, and they start to say that things are a certain way just because they are. The one thing that I always get really agitated about, and it takes all of my energy to hold back from saying, is that it does not have to be this way. Nothing has to be any particular way, ever. It never has to be a certain way. And I get really frustrated when we assume that things have to be a certain way. I did it to myself for a really, really, really long time. And it sucked to live that way. It really sucked. So, for whatever it's worth, anytime that you start to think that there is a truth about your situation that is certain, my invitation to you is to find what is the choice here. Maybe the truth is certain. Maybe there are certain expectations of how you are expected to be or perform. But there is a choice somewhere in there. Maybe the choice is as simple as how you get to be about it. Do you get to be a victim? Do you get to be the person who is responsible for your experience? Do you get to be a person who says, fuck it, and does the bare minimum? You have a choice there. Do you want to be a martyr? And whatever your choice is, it's a fine choice, but just own your choice. And the more responsible we get for our choices, the more willing we are to own our choices, the more willing we are to see that there are choices, that the way things are today doesn't necessarily have to be the way they will be tomorrow, the more things will change. And I see this a lot in politics. Anytime I have a conversation with somebody who's talking about something political, it's really frustrating to me because people will say something to the effect of, well, we can't change this because things are like this. The Republican Party is now Donald Trump's party. The states are controlled by these Trumpists, or the Democratic Party is a bunch of liberal nut jobs, or nobody is cohesive, or blah, 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 blah. It's almost like these ideas that people talk at each other are perceived as immovable and unshakable. And like nothing will ever be different because you just stated that as it is right now. And I'm over that shit. Fuck it. It's done. It's garbage. It's absolute garbage. If you want to tell me that things have to be this way because they are this way, then you are going to put yourself in this system of how things are for forever. And you're putting your kids in that system, and you're putting your grandkids in that system, and you are putting everyone around you in that system, and nobody has any options. And the thing that is infuriating about this is that all it takes is a willingness for things to be a little bit different, a willingness for new possibility, and suddenly the doors start to open. So my question is, do you actually want to be in a world where doors open? Because if you do, if you want to be in a world where doors open, start looking for the doors. Start paying attention to the places where the choices that you make in your life let air in. Because the more you are choosing to feel stifled, the more you are choosing to feel like a victim, the more you are choosing to let the world happen to you, the more you are deeply, deeply disempowered. And you, my friend, are a magnificent being. And even in the worst of circumstances, you have some power. And I really want to differentiate between a situation where where somebody really has circumstances that leave them with limited power in the world. That does not mean that you are without power completely. And the facts of a situation do not totally, completely, I'm being very careful with my words. The facts of a situation do not totally and completely define the situation. Because you and your willingness to be a certain way, have a certain mindset, find new possibility, that's the unknown. That's the X factor. That's the thing that nobody can change. So, with that said, this is my little mini episode today. I really hope that there was something in here for you. And, look. In the United States, there are structural inequities and inequalities, and I am not speaking to completely pretending that those structural inequities and inequalities do not exist. I just want to be very clear. This is not me putting the responsibility of you as an individual to overcome centuries of systemic racism and classism and sexism and isms and capitalism and whatever. That's not what I'm saying. What I am saying is that even in these isms, even in these systems, there is joy for you. You don't have to be a victim. You can be a leader. You can be joyful. You can be present. You can be connected. You can be anything. And there's power for you in making a choice to be anything other than at the effect of what's happening to you. I'd love to hear what you choose. Have a great day. Have a great week. And I'll take excellent care of yourselves, your friends. All right, bye-bye. This Is Not Advice is brought to you by me, Erin Conlon. If you are interested in learning more about my coaching practice or how we might be able to work together, please visit erinconlon.com. This podcast would not have happened without production support from Cedar Cathedral Narrative Studio.